Hey, Bam here, and I love tech, so let's talk tech. And today's specific topic I want to cover, yet again, I should say, I'm reiterating my thoughts on smartphones with no bezels, or bezel-less smartphones, or smartphones with very, very thin bezels, like that they're almost there, but not really. Specifically, even more specifically, rather, is the news on the Samsung Galaxy S8 and the LG G6 now. Not the V20, V30, or anything like that, but the LG G6. Both of which are said to have very, very thin bezels. And my thoughts on that in a previous vlog were the idea that I was kind of on edge, mostly against it. Now I'm on the fence with it, and here's why. Yeah, I will admit, it looks pretty cool. It's a step in the direction of what the Marvel Cinema Universe has done with Tony Stark's Tony Stark's smartphone, as to where it's excuse me, it's literally just a piece of glass, and they put some After Effects into it and everything like that. So I kind of like. Visually, it looks beautiful. Visually, it looks awesome. Visually, I love it. And especially for someone like me, who uses their smartphone on a fairly regular basis, or at least I did, use my smartphone on a regular basis to shoot vlogs as I'm doing stuff or whatever like that. As I'm, shooting whatever kind of cinema video it is that I'm shooting, or as I'm out and about, or what have you. So I like the idea of having that giant display right in front of my face. I like the idea that that most of it is just a screen, and the bigger the screen, supposedly, the more buttons and features you can shove into the screen. So I like that part of it. Here's where I have the problem with it, though, is the idea that, I'm not speaking for me personally, but so many people break their screens, and they drop their smartphone, and the screen has this nice looking spider effect on it because it's shattered. Out of the 5 or 6 smartphones that I've ever owned, and this is dating all the way back to 2011, since owning my first smartphone in 2011, I think I know I dropped one smartphone, and it made that splatter effect on the screen, everything like that, and I had it for a few months after that. So, and some smartphones I've had I've had a protective case on them, others I didn't, and this is one that I didn't. However, credit to the phone, and it was a HTC Desire 816. That thing was massive. It had the front-facing speakers on it, and it legitimately lasted me a whole day, even with heavy usage like GPS, messaging, music, videos, both watching and recording videos, mind you, and it lasted me a whole solid day. I loved it, and I did not have a case on it, and it skipped across the parking lot. It had fallen down concrete stairs. I had legitimately dented wooden desks with this smartphone. Okay, now granted, a lot of it might have been showing off, but we're not going to get into that part. Okay, fine. It is a factor. I did definitely physically abuse that smartphone more than any other smartphone that I've ever had in the past, or now even. But even for as much as I abused that smartphone, it still held up until one day that it fell from my hands onto tile about, yay far off the ground, screen first. And I picked it up, and it had this beautiful spider effect on the screen. So, to the smartphone's credit, it definitely held up my physical abuse. However, most of my physical abuse with most of my smartphones, except for that one, were completely unintentional. I dropped it by accident. Now, getting back onto the topic of bezel-less displays, I think it's kind of a gimmick. I think it's half a gimmick, and the other half of me says that it could have some real world applications. As I said, a bigger display means that you can actually put more onto the display. You can do more, you can be able to watch videos with a bigger screen. If you're using it for photography, for amateur photography, it would be having a bigger screen would be a lot better, because most smartphone screens already are naturally bigger than a screen on a DSLR camera, or even my camera, for example. Mine's an actual video dedicated camera. So the idea of having a larger screen for people that would actually use it for, videos and multitasking, and basically the heavy users. This is what a bezel display would be good for, would be for the power users. Unfortunately, smartphone manufacturers are effectively making the weakest spot on the smartphone the biggest. Obviously, this is a problem, and this is again going back to the idea that you can crack or break the screen easier. So, I'm not completely sold on it. As I said, I'm half and half, and I think that it's going to definitely fall into a niche. A lot of people are going to like it. A lot of people are not going to like it. And it's going to be the shiny new object for a while that everyone wants, and then after the next year or two, it's going to drop into its little niche, just like tablets did, probably a bigger niche though. So that's just my prediction and my thoughts on the bezel-less display for smartphones. So if you agreed with what I said or liked it, make sure to hit that like button, leave a comment in the comment section below. If you maybe have a different take on it, maybe you thought of something that I didn't mention. I don't know, but I would love to hear your thoughts on it. And my next one, I am thinking about covering the topic of... You know what? I'm going to leave that a secret. See ya.